Lena came home earlier than planned, the kind of decision made without much thought, driven by exhaustion and a quiet need for something familiar. The bus dropped her off just after sunset. The house stood the same as always, porch light on, curtains drawn, calm from the outside. She smiled as she walked up the steps, believing she was returning to safety. The key turned softly in the lock. Inside, the house was not empty. Voices drifted from the living room, low and serious. Lena paused. Something in their tone made her stop moving. It wasn't laughter or casual talk. Sounded careful, controlled, like people discussing something they didn't want overheard. She stepped further inside, her bag still on her shoulder. Her name floated through the air. Lena froze. She leaned closer to the wall, her heart beating faster, every sense sharp. She told herself she was imagining things, that she should walk in and announce herself. But instinct told her to listen. They were talking about money first. Numbers she recognized. Savings she had worked for since she was 16. Long shifts, skipped trips, careful planning. Her savings. She heard someone say it was already done. Papers signed, accounts moved, her breath caught. Another voice answered, calm and firm, explaining why it had been necessary. Bills, pressure, a situation that couldn't wait. They said Lena was young, that she would earn it back, that she didn't really need it yet. They spoke as if her future was flexible, something they could bend without breaking. Lena pressed her hand against the wall to steady herself. Her legs felt weak, but her mind raced. They weren't asking permission. They weren't worried about her reaction. They were justifying. She listened as they talked about her plans, school, moving out, independence, as if those were distant ideas, not real goals she had shared openly. One of them said she would understand someday. Another said it was better she didn't know yet. That was when something inside her cracked. Not loudly, not all at once. It broke quietly, like glass under pressure. Lena stepped back into the hallway, careful not to make a sound. Her bag slipped from her shoulder, landing softly on the floor. She stared at the front door, suddenly unsure if she should leave or stay. Her hands trembled, but she forced them still. This was betrayal, she realized. Not loud or cruel, calm, confident, wrapped in reasons. She picked up her bag and moved toward the stairs, each step measured. Her room felt smaller than she remembered. She closed the door and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. Her mind replayed every word she had heard, fitting them together like pieces of a puzzle she never wanted to see complete. She thought of all the times she trusted them, the advice she followed, the moments she believed they were protecting her interests. That trust now felt heavy, almost embarrassing. Lena didn't cry. Tears would come later. Right now, there was only shock and a sharp, rising clarity. She understood something important that night. What had been taken wasn't just money. It was choice, control, respect. Downstairs, the voices continued, unaware. They spoke about dinner plans, about normal things, switching topics easily. That hurt more than the betrayal itself. How quickly they moved on, how normal they felt. Lena lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling, listening to the house breathe around her. Every sound felt louder, every memory felt altered. She wondered how long this had been happening. How many conversations took place without her? How many decisions had already been made? Her phone buzzed with a message from a friend asking how the trip was. Lena typed a reply and erased it. She didn't know how to explain this feeling. How do you describe the moment you realized the people you trusted most made a life-changing choice for you without hesitation? She put the phone down. As the night deepened, anger slowly replaced shock. Not explosive anger, but steady and focused. It settled in her chest, warm and heavy. Questions formed. Why didn't they ask her? Why did they think they had the right? Why did they believe they knew better than her? She replayed their words again, especially the ones spoken about her future. About her being young, as if youth meant silence. as if her effort meant nothing. Lena sat up. In that moment, she decided she would not stay quiet. She didn't know how yet. She didn't know what form it would take. But she knew she would not let this disappear into excuses and time. Morning came too fast. Lena washed her face, hiding the marks of a sleepless night. She went downstairs with steady steps. The people who had betrayed her greeted her with smiles, asking about her trip, offering breakfast. Their normalcy felt unreal, like a performance. She watched them closely now. Every word sounded different. Every smile felt rehearsed. She answered politely. She ate. She listened. And while they spoke, she observed. She noted how icily they avoided certain topics. How they assumed she knew nothing. That assumption fueled something deeper than anger, determination. Lena realized that revenge didn't have to be loud. It didn't have to be cruel. It could be precise. As she left the house later that day, she didn't slam the door. She didn't confront them. She carried the truth with her like a hidden weight, one that sharpened her focus with every step. The betrayal had changed her, and she knew it was only the beginning. Lena didn't rush into action. The days after her return moved quickly on the outside, but inside her mind, everything slowed and sharpened. She went back to her routine, attending classes, working shifts, smiling when needed. No one suspected anything. That invisibility became her advantage. She watched closely now. Every conversation carried new meaning. Every small decision revealed patterns she had never noticed before. The people who betrayed her spoke with confidence, not guilt. They believed what they did was right. That belief disturbed her more than anger would have. Night, Lena wrote everything down. Dates, numbers, details from overheard talks. She didn't do it with rage. She did it with care. Writing gave her control, and control calmed her. Revenge, she realized, wasn't about hurting someone fast. It was about understanding the full picture first. Still, doubt followed her everywhere. Some mornings she woke up feeling strong, certain she deserved justice. Other mornings she felt tired, wondering if she was turning into someone she wouldn't recognize. She asked herself hard questions while brushing her teeth, while riding the bus, while staring at her phone screen. Would revenge give her peace, or would it keep her tied to the betrayal forever? She didn't have the answer yet. One evening, she overheard another conversation by accident. Not about money this time, but about her, about how she was handling things well, about how she seemed mature enough not to cause problems. The words made her chest tighten. They mistook her silence for acceptance. That was when her plan began to take shape. Lena didn't want chaos. She wanted truth exposed carefully, in a way that couldn't be denied. She started gathering proof, documents, messages, records. Each piece made the betrayal more real, but also more distant. She stopped feeling like a victim and started feeling like a witness. Yet, the closer she got to acting, the heavier everything felt. She thought about the past, the help she had received, the moments of kindness that were real, not fake. People were not just one thing, she realized. The same hands that supported her had also taken from her. That contradiction haunted her. The antagonist in her story wasn't cruel. They were afraid. Afraid of losing control, of facing consequences, of admitting mistakes. In their own minds, they had chosen survival over fairness. Understanding that didn't excuse the betrayal, but it complicated her anger. Lena talked to no one about her plan. Keeping it to herself made it feel dangerous and powerful. Some nights she imagined confronting them, saying every word she had practiced in her head. Other nights she imagined walking away without a trace, starting fresh somewhere new. Neither option felt complete. As weeks passed, the tension grew. Every smile she returned felt like a test. Every normal moment felt temporary, like calm before a storm. Her body carried the stress even when her face didn't. She slept lightly. She jumped at sounds. She lived in constant alert. Revenge, she learned, demanded patience, but patience demanded strength. One afternoon, while organizing her notes, she paused. She stared at the proof she had gathered and felt a strange emptiness. This was enough to hurt them deeply, enough to turn their world upside down. The power sat right in front of her. Instead of satisfaction, she felt fear. She asked herself what would happen after the truth came out, after the apologies or anger or silence. Would she feel free, or would she be pulled into endless conflict? That night, Lena dreamed she was standing at a crossroads. One path was loud and bright, filled with voices and judgment. The other was quiet and uncertain. She woke up with her heart racing, unsure which scared her more. The next day, she tested herself. She imagined pressing the final button, sending the message, starting the chain reaction. Her hands shook, her chest tightened. That reaction told her something important. Revenge still controlled her. She didn't like that. Lena decided she needed clarity before action. She began asking careful questions, not accusing, just listening. She wanted to understand how the betrayal had been justified. Not to forgive it, but to see it clearly. Answers were always the same: pressure, urgency, belief that she wouldn't mind. Each answer added weight to her choice. As the plan neared completion, the internal struggle became louder than any outside conflict. Part of her wanted to expose everything and reclaim what was taken. Another part wanted to break the cycle, to prove she was more than the wrong done to her. The tension built day by day. Lena knew the moment of decision was coming. She could feel it in the way time seemed to lean forward, waiting. Whatever she chose would define not just what happened next. The moment Lena had been preparing for arrived without drama. No raised voices, no sudden discovery. Just a quiet evening and a house filled with ordinary sounds. She sat alone in her room, the proof spread across her desk, her phone beside her. Everything she needed was there. One action would set the truth free. Her heart beat fast, but her mind was clear. She read through the documents one last time. Dates, decisions, choices made without her. Each line reminded her why she started this path. The betrayal had been real. The damage had been done. No one could take that away from her memory. Stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the streetlights glowed softly. Life continued as usual, unaware of the storm waiting inside her chest. She wondered how many times people reached this point in their lives holding power in their hands, unsure how to use it. She picked up her phone, her finger hovered over the screen. This was it. The moment revenge promised clarity and justice. She imagined the shock on their faces, the sudden fear, the scramble to explain. For a brief second, the image brought satisfaction. Then another thought followed. What happens after? She imagined the days that would come next. Arguments, broken trust beyond repair. A future tied forever to this conflict. She saw herself replaying the moment again and again. Not healed, just hardened. Her grip loosened. Lena sat back down, breathing slowly. She realized something important. Revenge had brought her here. But it didn't have to decide how she left. Instead of sending the message she had prepared, she opened a blank note. She began writing something new. Simple, direct, honest. Words that didn't accuse but didn't soften the truth either. She wrote about what she heard, what she lost, and how it made her feel. She wrote about trust, about choice, about being excluded from her own future. When she finished, she felt lighter. She folded the paper and slipped it into her bag. This was not an escape. It was a confrontation, just not the kind she first imagined. The next morning, Lena walked into the living room and asked to talk. Her voice was steady, calm. That calm unsettled them more than anger would have. They sat down, expecting a normal conversation. She handed them the paper. As they read, silence filled the room. The justifications she had overheard weeks earlier vanished. Their faces changed as understanding set in. There were no excuses ready this time. No quick explanations. Lena watched them carefully. She felt no pleasure in their discomfort, only confirmation. They now knew she was aware. She was no longer invisible. She spoke then, not loudly, not with blame, but with clarity. She told them what had been taken from her wasn't only money. It was trust. It was respect. It was the right to decide her own life. They tried to respond. Apologies came, mixed with explanations, pressure, fear, poor judgment. She listened without interruption. Understanding their reasons didn't erase the harm, but it closed the loop inside her mind. When they finished, Lena stood up. She told them she needed distance, time, boundaries. She would rebuild her future on her terms, not theirs. The consequences of their actions were not punishment, but change. She walked out of the room without waiting for approval. In the days that followed, Lena felt strange but steady. There was no rush of victory, no crash of regret, just quiet resolve. She focused on herself, her goals, her independence. Each small step forward felt earned. The anger that once fueled her began to fade. Not because the betrayal didn't matter, but because it no longer controlled her. She had chosen action without destruction, truth without chaos. Sometimes, late at night, she wondered what would have happened if she had chosen revenge fully. The thought no longer tempted her. She saw now that revenge promised strength but demanded her peace in return. She chose peace. Lena understood. That healing didn't mean forgetting or excusing. It meant refusing to let pain define her future. The betrayal shaped her, but it did not own her. And in choosing restraint over revenge, she discovered something stronger than payback. She discovered freedom.